And the hot chick pleaded to come back to the Regal Alchemist with a full sack. But when she did, the Regal Alchemist looked at her and said, but what have you done to do anything to be lovable? This is not to say that if a woman comes back into your life and she, really, maybe she writes you a love letter or something, right? Like she wants to do something to really just win you over. It's not to say that if she does that, you should not take her back, or that you should write her off or ignore her. But you have to ask yourself, like, what has she done to be lovable to you, to be even likable to you? Now, of course, if you were to look at her on a soul level and not like a personality level, of course she's lovable, because she has within her everything else that anybody else does. I mean, we all have the divine source, the soul of existence within us dwelling. And it's up to us to really move forth into the unknown and be what I call in my book, the Book of Oldishness, lovers of uncertainty. Because if we're not to be lovers of uncertainty, I mean, it's going to be very challenging for us to even want to associate with our fellow creatures, and with ourselves, really, because that's just it, right? But the women that will come back to you, especially when you have a full sack, man, you've got to be very careful, because some of you may know the story. I haven't told it for a while, but some of you might not, because there's been a lot of new people coming in on the channel, which I'm very grateful for, and welcome to have you. It was about 8 or so years ago now, and a woman I fell in love with at the time, and I thought she was like my twin flame, basically, right? Because the attraction was just so high, the energy was just so high. Every time she was around, it was just like thunderbolts. I mean, it was just insane chemistry, it was insane life, it was just insane, like, sexual tension, even though we never really did anything. It was just like that. It was just like that, right? And we end up like having multiple fallouts and all of that, and never really seems to work out between us. Whenever I'm on, she's off. Whenever she's on, I'm off. It was that kind of a thing, right? And from a certain perspective, it seemed like it was like the runner and the chaser and the twin flame thing, right? Now, I'm not a proponent of twin flames, because I would say that pretty much everybody's your twin flame, just dressed in drag, so to speak. But because soulmates are technically real too, but I see everybody as one soul expressing itself in multiple forms. So, do with that what you will. But ultimately, with this woman, I ended up just telling her, like, look, I'm in love with you, and I don't know what to do, but I needed to let you know, and I can't keep doing this. And she wanted to keep me on the friends still, like, she wanted to keep me around for the attention. And I basically said, no, I've had enough of that. I've had enough of that. And, I was pretty beta at the time as well, so I don't recommend you telling women that you love them. Even if you've gone through a lot together and all of that, and you're the first to say it technically, even though that's kind of a stupid rule. Like, I don't really buy those rules, but at the same time, it's like there's a way to do this, right? And it's not because like there's a way to do it, like, oh, I have to do these things. It's like, no, it's just the more embodied you are in your own sense of being, the more natural these things become. I mean, you're not even thinking about it. You just do it. You just be it. And so anyway, things didn't really go that great. Things didn't really end up going as planned, you could say. In my head, anyway, as planned. And every time she, like, she would run off or do something or just, avoid the situation, I would just, okay. And I would be doing my thing, completely ignoring her. And then I would legitimately forget about her. And every single fucking time I forgot about her, she would pop up on my phone or randomly, like out and about. I mean, it was just crazy, it was just a lot of craziness that was happening. It was like, I was just wondering, what in the world could this woman want from me at this point? Why does she want me there but doesn't want me there? I'm not about this. And so I just cut her off. I blocked her. And I didn't want to play this game. I didn't want to go on this merry-go-round again. And it was years later. This was about 2 years ago or so. I hadn't seen her. I haven't talked to her. Hadn't really even thought about her much. And by this time, I had lost about 40 pounds because I was almost 200 pounds at the time. And I'm 5'6", right? So I was a hefty boy. I was on semen retention for about 2 years at that point. And, my full sack energy was sky high. I had started to learn just how capable I was of attracting the most beautiful women in town and really, in my area at all times. And I was, I mean, not really just starting to learn. I was really just integrated in that. Like, I knew I was better than what I was 8 years ago by a long shot. And it was only because I've become more comfortable with myself and I'm just being more of myself. It's not really about like, looking this way or that way. Like, yeah, those things help, and, whatever you want to do to attract a certain type of person, you can do that. But my main focus was always just being more me. And I had women who were like 5'11", just one of the most, beautiful. I don't want to say drop dead gorgeous because no, but I mean, you look at her and you're like, wowzers, like that's like, that woman looks like Aphrodite, that woman could be Aphrodite for all I know. And yet at the same time, like, no longer was bothered by it. So I had this woman who I told her I loved her like 8 years ago. All of a sudden she popped up at my gym very randomly. I didn't even recognize her. She was she was much different, let's say. I'll just be true to this. She was fatter. She had way more tattoos, piercings, just, the whole shebang. And I was just like, what the? And here I was in at that point, the best shape of my life. I am riding the tide. I am soaring to victory. And here's this woman who I see, and she's like, hey. And I just look at her, and I really didn't recognize her for a second. I really didn't. And she said my name, and I was like, yeah, hello. I didn't know how she knew me or anything. And she just got really embarrassed. Like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she just left. And then I did a double take, and I was like, holy is that woman? Like, that's wow. Okay, that's her. And I haven't seen her since, but there's something really strange that I learned from that, was like the power of just maintaining yourself as a man. Just the power to be true to who you are. Like, I really felt like telling her I love her in that moment. I really did. 8 years ago. I wasn't trying to be simpy or anything. It was just like, look, like, I'm just being honest. And of course, there could have been a better way to go about that, absolutely. But I was just being, saying exactly what was on my mind. And it was only then when I saw her, like, the 2 years ago now, and I recall that situation, I'm like, wow, there was just so much that I learned from that situation altogether. And they always come back. Like, that's just one example, right? Like, that's just one example of this type of a thing happening. But it's just amazing the power of the full sack energy, man. Like, it's just so powerful. And the way that you can alchemize the energy. Because what I truly think, yeah, we'll go into this. So what I truly think is going on, it's not even what I think, it's what I've experienced, is that having a full sack and retaining your energy as a man, or if you're a woman watching this by chance and you're a celibate woman, basically celibacy expands your astral domain. So there's the physical body, the astral body, the ethereal body, etc. The ethereal body is not quite the soul, but it's closer to the soul than anything else. The astral body is essentially the fourth dimension, where you can just create thoughts on demand. Now, or you can create what you're thinking on demand in the astral plane. So like if you're thinking of a purple elephant, you can, bada bing, bada boom, there's a purple elephant. And this happens like with out-of-body experiences, OBEs, that you could say, where you can see like forms people are thinking about in the, what I call the mystical beyond. The mystical beyond is where the ethereal body is, but the astral plane is something completely different from the mystical beyond, from what I've experienced. And I've always had a tendency to just be able to attune myself more to the mystical beyond than the astral plane. I don't really care about the astral plane, but what I have found as well is that the more that you expand your astral body, the more you attract those that you have, to do astral karmic work with. Like this woman, for example, that I just told the story about, I had a lot of astral karma to work through with her. And that was just the way that it was. That's just the way that it was, and that's just the way that we experienced it. So everything is perfect and everything's working out exactly how it's supposed to. It's just sometimes it doesn't feel like that, because it can be so much, but we have this great part to play in this life, and all we can do is do our best. I mean, that's all that we can really do, and just trust ourselves in the spirit of the moment. Like, if it weren't for me trusting what I did 8 years ago, I wouldn't be in the position I am now. I wouldn't have the types of options with women available to me now. I wouldn't have the types of options with business available to me now, because not all of this is just about female attraction and all that with full sack energy. But at the same time, to be a regal alchemist with a full sack, if this is part of your dharma, let's say this is part of your dharma and you're reaping what you're sowing, then of course it's going to be what it's going to be. So I've never seen myself as like a pimp at all, really, but I've had this strange affinity for pimps, and not because I desired to be like them, but I do embrace and welcome the knowledge and the wisdom behind some of what they're saying, even though it's not always going to be the most righteous sounding wisdom. It still is wisdom, because there's a lot of truth to what these types of people are saying. And it is what it is. And there's something that's dangerous about it that's really inspiring, right? And that's kind of because I had to kind of lean into the shadow of myself more when it came to women. And it was only when I was able to lean into my shadow more, because I was so repressed. It wasn't like I was repressed, I was suppressed. It's because I was so suppressed in my being for so long as a man growing up, because of the environment that I grew up in. Because my environment was, if you stand up for yourself, you're going to be punished for it. And so I learned that standing up for myself was not an okay thing. So I had to unlearn that, and it was just kind of a way to do it. It was just kind of a form of the soul of existence expressing itself through me, of how I'm supposed to learn through this dharmic work, right? This is just the way that things are in the spirit of the time. So, all in all, goes to say that this is a process, and it is indeed a process, and there's no rush to it. But also, yeah, she's gonna come back. Don't you worry, she's gonna come back, especially if you got a full sack, because you've got the good coconut milk, man. Like, you think that she doesn't want that? Dude, if you're actually doing the inner work, you're not just like trying to, you know, not just trying to be a follower, you're trying to curate your own life, and you're appreciating the value of people that are creating their own paths, and you're striving to create your own. I mean, my goodness, you think she's not going to come back? Dude, she's going to be more, it's like in The Godfather, right? When Michael sees Apollonia for the first time, and Michael's bodyguards, he says, you know, in Sicily, Italy, women are more dangerous than shotguns. And it's like, man, that's been my experience nearly every single time with women. And I'm just to a point now to where, yeah, I don't want to be around a woman unless she, like, I can regulate my nervous system and my solar timeline interface on my own. For those of you that are Regal Change old timers, you know what I'm talking about here with the Regal timeline theory. But unless she has her ability to regulate her emotions, then I don't want to be around her. I don't. Like, I can help you regulate your emotions and I can be there for you, but like, only if I want to be. Because golly, like, that's what's so crazy is these women, they'll be like, oh yeah, like, I'll make my man happy as long as I'm happy. What a bunch of BS. So what are we supposed to do? We're just supposed to be your happiness and everything all the time? Hell no. Hell no. We're not going to do that. Like, that's crazy. That is like actual craziness. But anyways, guys, I trust that this message reached those that are ready for godlike mastery practice and just wanting to be more of themselves, you know, have that full sack king energy. But otherwise, be blessed, and until next time, peace be with you.